So the Flash has a penultimate episode for this season. I think it is. Yeah, but you know, so. And this is another one where I guess compared to earlier, how bad this season has been, this isn't such a bad show. They, you know, kind of picked up the pace a little. But yeah, you know. So now Barry, Nora shows up, but she's a different Nora. They do acknowledge that, so at least they did that. You know, they cleared that up. That this is, yes, there will be a Nora again. They will have her. She would just have a slightly different life than the one they knew initially, because that timeline no longer exists. But now he also has a son, her younger brother, Bart, and so he shows up. And it turns out, well, he's the reason the Godspeed War is going on. Don't quite know why or how this happens, where they're all fighting each other and this sort of thing, but ultimately Godspeed is the arch villain of Impulse, Bart, a superhero name. And so he jumped back into the past. They followed him, and this is where we are. So as to why they're the clones and everything, I don't really know yet. But and then this other version of him who has amnesia and doesn't remember himself, ultimately they try to figure this out. First they do a lot of chasing and whatnot and battling Godspeeds, and then we discover that Jay Garrick is back. Oh, it's always good to see John Wesley's ship. And of course, with the Speed Force reinstated, Jay Garrick now has his speed, so yay. But then Godspeed shows up and kidnaps him, and apparently in the future the Godspeed will ultimately kill Jay Garrick, much to the pain and suffering of Bart Allen, because apparently he developed quite a relationship with him as his grandpa, what have you, and so it hurt him deeply when he was murdered, as to be expected. So that's why there's such a big back and forth between the two, and why Godspeed is more of a serious villain than any other, and so he refers to him as his Thawne. So Eobod Thawne was Barry's ultimate villain, so Godspeed is Bart's ultimate villain. So okay, you know, all that stuff. And he's keeping it secret, and Dad has to understand and get it out of him, and so they do, and all that. The thing of it is this Grant Gustin, once again, just looks like he is bored to death. And the problem here is he's already done this story. He did it with Nora, the whole season of that. You know, and here they're going to do it again, but now it's Bart, his character from the comics and all that stuff. Although it's not the story, because Bart was originally his grandson and all that, but, you know, whatever. And then Iris shows up, and talk about looking bored. Oh, man, she's so sick of the show. She bailed on it a couple of episodes. I don't know. As like I said, I wondered if maybe she did test positive for COVID and was off the show for a while, and maybe that's what it is. That might have been. But, boy, even when she was there, and even now, it's just like, oh, man, don't know if I can keep doing this. Oddly enough, one who got out of the show comes back. Cisco shows up to save the day because they didn't know how else to get out of the problem they were in. But, so, you know, ultimately Impulse gets hurt and is in a coma and whatnot to save Jay Garrick. And so now they got to figure out what's going on. And the answer only lies within Godspeed. So they have the original Godspeed at this point in time, who's suffering from amnesia. They're trying to figure it out and crack his memory and all that. Seems like a nice guy, but he's a ruthless monster. So if they bring his memory back, it could be dangerous. But they don't really have any choice, because obviously at some point he does get his memory back. You know, time travel. So Barry decides he needs to go into his mind. So they use Jay Garrick's helmet and another hat that looks like his helmet and connect his head to the guy, what's his name, August Hart guy, and it works. He goes into his mind. It turns out Godspeed was, I've been waiting for you all along, you know. And that's the cliffhanger. Yeah. And oh boy, I know you're would be upset with me if I didn't tell you. Yes, there were 2 subplots. So the only interesting one is just because the actors are older and they know how to perform better. Is of course Joe and what's her name? Isn't it Karen or something like that? The one that took his job after she tracked down her old buddy who turned into a villain, and he said, "You can't be her because you're dead." And then Joe's like, "What did he mean by that?" And she doesn't want to deal with it. I'm guessing it's just ultimately it's going to reveal that she has powers too, because she hates metas, but surprise, she is one or something like that, and she can't be killed or she regenerates or some crap like that. Who knows? Or she's a ghost all this time, That would be interesting. The other one, oh boy, he would really be mad if I missed this one, is of course Allegra. So she's down in the dumps and doesn't feel so great. And but they needed her to supercharge some, device that Chester whipped up. But boy, she's just not feeling it and couldn't quite do it. So Barry does it instead, but that ends up being a problem because Godspeed can absorb it and it backfires on him and stuff. And Allegra can't help but feel that somehow this is all her fault, which of course, well, in that instance, it is. But so she decides, oh, maybe I should tell Chester, yeah, my sister or my cousin, whatever. Well, she's dead, and I'm feeling bad about it. Oh, maybe you should have said something. So there you go. That's Alex. She's feeling bad. In case you didn't know that about her cousin dying. So there. Oh, and somehow their powers. She now has her cousin's powers instead of her own. But I thought they already did anyway. Who cares anyway? So they're not working quite right just yet. So there you go. Barry's trapped in the Matrix with Godspeed, and he'll have to figure this out in the next exciting episode of The Flash. I know you can't wait, but if you can keep on waiting, and I'll tell you what happened in my next review. Thanks for watching and listening. Say, while you're still here, why not like and subscribe and share with your many friends? Yes. Also, check out my mini stores in the link description below. Yes, where you can get t-shirts, hats, mugs, all those goodies with my artwork on them. Oh, yeah. And head over to indieplanet.com and pick up a copy of my comic book, Night Night. Oh, yeah. You can also catch me at my podcast, Mr. Nailsin Show, on RadioMisfits.com. And you can also watch my videos on BitChute.com and now on Rumble.com. Oh, my goodness, so many places to watch me and my stuff. Oh, yeah. And if that's not enough for you, well, you can follow me on many social media platforms and say hi to your old pal, Mr. Nailsin.